When you've just bought a new sketchbook, you're filled with excitement, right? You've got all these amazing ideas swirling around in your head and you can't wait to get them out on paper. Your creative energy is at its peak and you're ready to dive in. You open your sketchbook and then it hits you. The fear of the first page. Suddenly, your mind goes blank. The excitement that was buzzing inside of you just moments ago starts to drain, and this creeping fear begins to seep in. You say to yourself, this needs to be perfect. This is going to set the tone for the whole sketchbook. I need to showcase my skills, and if I mess things up in the first page, I might as well quit this whole sketchbook. Sounds familiar? If you've ever felt like that, don't worry. You're definitely not alone. So many artists face this exact same thing. But here's the problem. If you give in to these thoughts, you'll end up with yet another unfinished sketchbook gathering dust on the shelf. I've been there, trust me. That's why today I'm going to help you get started on your sketchbook and help you lose that fear of the first page. And while I'm talking about this, I'll actually be showing you the process of me drawing on my first page. And spoiler alert, it's not the first drawing in the sketchbook, and that also brings me to my first tip. Skip the first page. When I started this sketchbook, I skipped the first page. I didn't even think about it. I flipped through a random page and just started drawing. And guess what? That took away so much of the pressure. That first blank page often feels like it carries immense pressure. Like it represents a fresh start and we feel need to fill it with something perfect. Something that will set the tone for the entire sketchbook. But that's where we go wrong. The first page doesn't need to be perfect. It's just another page. By skipping ahead, you give yourself the freedom to warm up and find your artistic rhythm. You're not committing to the face of the sketchbook right away. You're just drawing. Once you've filled a few pages, your confidence starts to build up, and going back to the first page later doesn't feel as daunting anymore. In fact, the sketchbook that I'm working on right now, it's already halfway full. I've been using it for months now without ever touching that first page. But now, after all this time, I decided I was finally ready to commit to drawing on it. So, how can we make sure we're happy with the result and still have fun in the process? This is where the use of thumbnails come in. Thumbnail sketches are an incredibly useful tool, especially when tackling something as daunting as that first page. Thumbnail sketches are small, loose, quick sketches of your idea. You're not trying to create a detailed masterpiece here, you're just brainstorming visually. Because they're so small, there's no pressure to make them perfect. You know it's just a rough draft, and that allows you to experience and take risk without fear. The beauty of thumbnails is that you can generate several different ideas in a short amount of time. Instead of agonizing over one concept, you can play around with multiple ideas, layouts, or perspectives. You can compare them and see which one resonates with you the most before committing to that full-scale drawing. And here's a secret. It doesn't even have to be a finished drawing. This is your sketchbook. You can do whatever you want on the first page. Maybe you just want to write a big title and a little welcoming paragraph. Or you could just cover the whole thing in stickers. One thing that I love to do is fill it in with practice sketches, just like any other page in the book. The point here is to do something that makes you happy. Your sketchbook is not what defines you as an artist. It's a place to express yourself without any judgment. Nobody is going to see these drawings unless you want them to. So let go of that need of perfection and just create. Now, let's say you still feel that lingering pressure. You're still worried that if the first page is not perfect, the rest of the sketchbook will somehow be ruined. One powerful way to sidestep that anxiety altogether is to not put your own art there in the first place. Instead, turn that intimidating blank page into a mood board of inspiration. This technique shifts the focus from perfection to that motivation. Rather than worrying about how your art will define the sketchbook, you can start by surrounding yourself with art that inspires you. And here's how it works. Find an artist or a specific style you admire, or maybe even a few different ones. Look for specific pieces that resonate with you and then print them out. And then lastly, you just arrange these pieces to create a collage. And by doing this, you eliminate that burden of getting it right yourself. There's no pressure to produce something original or polished right away. Instead, you're curating a collection of visuals that represent the kind of art that excites you. It becomes more of a creative collaboration with the artist you admire rather than a daunting solo task. Plus, instead of feeling like the first page has to define your skills at this moment, you're setting a tone for where you want to grow. You could include pieces that reflect a style or technique you want to improve on, like dynamic character design or more usage of color or intricate line work. This way, the first page becomes a visual guide for your artistic journey rather than a snapshot of where you were at the beginning. And lastly, remember, it's just a page. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that it needs to be a masterpiece. But the truth is, every page of your sketchbook is a new opportunity. Some pages will turn out amazing, and for the other pages, and for me, that's most of them, it's just experimenting, making mistakes, and a learning curve. And that's what I think a sketchbook is for. It's a creative playground. It's where you try things, push your boundaries, and grow as an artist. It's a safe space for you to make mistakes, learn, and discover your style. So let go of the pressure and just start. By skipping the first page and experimenting with thumbnails or creating a mood board, you can transform that blank first page from something intimidating into something exciting. Something that sets the tone for exploration and not perfection. So whether it's the day, tomorrow, or 4 months from now, like me, when you finally decide to tackle that first page, remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours.